Happy birthday to me. No, literally, guys, it's my birthday. So I've been holding this off for a while just so that I could talk about this on my birthday because I'm pathetic and I spent it alone and I literally was like midnight, not actually wearing a watch, but on my phone watch. Just tape it right here. And yeah, happy birthday to me. So here I am. And this is the perfect movie to do so. I've been waiting to do this for a couple weeks now. I was going to do it for a Slasher Sunday episode, but it was more fitting tonight. Now, I first want to talk about this cover. When I was in the video stores as a kid, this cover right here was one of my all-time favorite covers. Like when I saw it, I was like, I gotta get it. Now, granted, that isn't technically a murder taking place there. This dude might just be really hungry and his friend's helping him out. Or that could be his long arm. He's like Reed Richards or something. But it does say 6 of the most bizarre murders you'll ever see. Now, what's funny about this, spoilers, obviously this whole thing's fucking spoilers. And it's my birthday. I'll do whatever the fuck I want anyway. But that character is not who gets the shish kebab in the mouth. That is a character in the movie. But that ain't the guy. So, rewrite? I don't know. And also, I'd like to point out that that is not the cover of this DVD. That is just the insert that came inside. And this piece of shit. This terrible ass, cross-eyed looking chick. I don't know what the hell they were doing with this cover. It's awful. What the fuck? So I slipped this in here because this brings back good memories, and it is 10 times, 1,000 times, a trillion times. Can you even, something times 0 is 0, so I can't really say times, but it's much better, okay? Actually kind of have to slide over. I'll fix it later. All right, moving on. Let's get into the movie. Now, the movie is an hour and 50 minutes long, which is unheard of for a slasher film in America. That's crazy long. Like, they usually are 90 or less. An hour 50, it's 20 minutes longer. But what's crazy about it is that I really like this movie a lot. And it doesn't feel slow. I never felt bored. It was always good. And that's because of strong characters. And fairly good dialogue as well. But what's really surprising is that even though it's 20 minutes longer, it doesn't have the things that I always say is absolutely necessary for one of these films. It doesn't really have a lot of gore. That doesn't mean that it's without its kills and it's without its viciousness in certain things. And, you know, it can be grotesque and it can be brutal and it can be grim and whatnot. But actual, like, on-screen gore, like, that's not really here. And we don't really have any nudity either. And those are the kinds of things that I always say, slasher films, that's what a lot of the slasher fanatics look for, tits and gore. And we don't really get a ton of it here, but still, even being 20 minutes longer, I really, really enjoyed this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I didn't remember a good amount of it. And I was shocked that it was actually great. Like, I really liked this. This would make, you know, it would make it high up on a slasher list if I made a slasher. It wouldn't be like top 10 or anything. But I could see it sneaking into like a top 50 or something. It's really, really good. As I said, spoilers for the whole goddamn thing. So now the writer of this is John Saxon. No, not that John Saxon. But when I saw the name, I was like, wait, what? No, this is a different guy. And he also wrote Class of 1984, which I did a spoiler discussion video on the whole trilogy, which Class of 1999 and Class of 1999 Part 2 is part of that 1984 series. So that's a whole trilogy. So if you want to check that out, there it is. But Class of 1984 is really, really good. And so is this. So he didn't really do a ton of other... Like, he didn't do anything else that I'm really that familiar with. He only maybe made a couple other ones. But these are the standouts for sure. It opens up with a very odd music choice. You know, a pop song, which a lot of these movies do. And I have to be like... Is this an attempt to be hip? Like Prom Night? You know, like where it's thrown in there to appeal to the kids and be like, here's a pop song, like this is a cool movie, and we had the rights to it, so fuck it. Like, let's throw it in here. I don't know, because it's not really fitting to the movie. But now the opening scene where this girl gets strangled in her car is long and drawn out in a good way, because it overemphasizes the terror that being strangled would feel like. Like, you don't just get strangled in a second unless someone like breaks your neck or your trachea, and then then it's over a little quicker. But because they kill a lot of people, I mentioned this in a lot of videos. People are starting to get worried. But strangulations take a long effing time. And so when you see them in movies, and of course not every movie wants to sit there and hold someone for 3 minutes and then after they pass out, hold them for another minute. They do get to take artistic and creative liberties is what I think I said. Liberties. But I liked it. I liked that it was drawn out. I mentioned this before, but it reminds me of, not in this review, but in one recently, No Country for Old Men. That strangulation scene in that movie is gruesome. It's just brutal and hard to watch because that guy is fighting for his life. And that's what I feel here. And then she actually passes out, and when he lets go, or she lets go, spoilers as I said, she gets up and runs away. And then the killer has to come back and kill her again. But did she go limp? Did she play dead so that they would stop holding on to her and then she could get up and run away? Because that's brilliant. That's exactly what you should do in a scenario like that. I mean, if you can't win it, if you have some time left, and then they'll probably be like, all right, I got him. So I don't know if that's what she did, but if she did, that kudos to her for being so smart. And we also get, like, when they go to slit her neck with the straight razor, we get the gleaming blade. We also get some, neon lighting on the girl's face, and it's a whodunit, which a lot of slashers are. But this one really has, and I think this is where a lot of the charm came from and why it worked a lot for me, was that this has a lot of giallo tones, like the Italian giallos, like, Argento and those guys. So I feel like the director of this movie took pretty heavy inspiration from Italy in this film, which, awesome, fantastic. That's never a bad thing. The gloved hands, also, that's pretty typical in those films. And it also hides any kind of, identity characteristics. Like in a lot of movies, you can see the hands and it's supposed to be like a mystery, and it's like you instantly know that that's a guy's hands. Now, they might do a sleight of hand, pun intended, and make the hand actor not have the same hands as the killer in the end, and then you're like, what, it's a chick? No way. Shit, look back. Those aren't women's hands. Look at her in the scene. Her hands are dainty, and the ones we saw, fuck that. That's not cool. But it immediately eliminates anyone of color if they're white, or if they're black, or if they're whatever. If you see their hands and they're black, then and it's a horror movie, so usually there's not many black people in a movie, so if you saw black hands, you'd be like, well, it's the one dude in this movie, and he's already dead, so how is he the killer? A lot of stereotypes there. Horror stereotypes, people. Horror stereotypes. There's also, a lot of red herrings in this movie, because the movie just constantly keeps trying to dupe you back and forth the whole fucking movie. I mean, up until literally the last, minute, it keeps faking you out. It's like, it's this person, it's her, it's her sister, it's her identical twin sister, it's her best friend, oh my god, she's now getting framed for all, it's all over the place. And the overemphasis on the red herrings in this movie are so fucking silly. Not in a bad way per se, but when they make it like the dorky kid and they find this severed head that ends up being a fucking fake head. Bullshit. Nobody's that good at making fake heads. I mean, that wasn't 100% sure the actress's face. Of course it was the actress's face, but I mean, even in their world is what I'm talking about. When they see the head, it's so clearly real. Nobody makes prosthetics and shit like that good. And then he flips on the lights and it is a prosthetic, and it's clearly much different, much less quality. Still pretty damn good though, I have to say. It was good, but it wasn't that good. But when he's pulling out the knife, Slow. I don't even think it ends up being a knife. I can't remember what it is, but he's like slowly reaching into his pocket, and he's super creepy. And also another thing is like they break into his house, and he is not even that miffed about it. He just maybe that's his payback is to make them think he's a killer for breaking into his house. But I was just fucking laughing like he's like so slow about it. And then the other guy up in the bell tower, he pulls out the knife, and he's like. They play it out. Now, it could be argued that because the girl's off and she's had the brain surgeries and she's fucking wacky, she doesn't end up being the killer, but she is off in the head for sure. Maybe that's the way she perceived those moments, and they weren't actually being creepy like that at all. And they came out right immediately, and the guy was like, oh no, it's just a fake head. But in her head, she elongated the scenes almost like they were in slow motion, which is kind of how they were played out. So I don't know. I was thinking about that when I was watching it. Bless me. Thank you to whoever said bless you. I'm sure one of you did. Or more. When they're in the bar in this opening, we almost get in a very quick red herring here with the geeky kid. Kind of feels like a Terror Train or something. Or a Slaughter High or one of those movies where the dorky kid feels like he's been picked on. Because when he walks in, everyone's like, oh, there's that dork. Like, even his friends are kind of shitty about it when he walks in. But so they immediately make you think like, oh, this kid wants revenge. He's killing him. Because then the first person who dies is the girl, is the guy who picks on his girl, the girl that he's interested in. So, as I said, there's so many, like, oh, look over here, to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But these guys singing 100 bottles of beer on the wall and the fucking, oh my God, I would have fucking went over and punched them too. Like, seriously, who really sings that? I thought that was just for, like, cartoons and shit. Speaking of which, Tiny Toons, How I Spent My Summer Vacation, 100 non-alcoholic beers on the wall or whatever. Fuck, I love that movie. Any fans? I adore that movie. That's why I want to start another channel so I can talk about shit like that. Probably not the first one I'd run to, but God, I could talk about that one for a while. I love that movie. Getting back to the task at hand here. Now, when they put the little mouse, gerbil, whatever the hell the thing is, in the beer and they give it to the guy, and he freaks out, they all run out to their car to get, do a quick getaway. They have so much time to discuss and place bets and call each other chickens and set up before they leave. It is the slowest quick getaway I've ever seen in a movie. Like, there's, those scenes where people go in, they hug, like, in the middle of, like, a battle or something, and you're like, or, like, when they're being chased, and you're like, no hugs! I like that in The Force Awakens. Han's like, run now, hug later. That's exactly it. And this is that same thing. It's just like, really? Get in your fucking cars and drive. The bridge wouldn't even have been up if they all just jumped in their fucking cars and drove off instantly. They sat there and talked about it. But then they decide to jump the bridge, which is actually one of the most memorable scenes from this movie because it's something I remember every time anyone brings this up. I'm like instantly bridge scene in my head. And they all jump their cars, and this guy bets $20 that he won't do it, and the guy's gotta prove it because he's fucking crazy and he'll do it. And he comes down. Now, I love that the car coming down off the bridge is actually realistic because cars are front heavy because of the engine. So when they jump in the air, they don't fly straight in like a Fast and the Furious movie. When they're jumping from building to building and the cars are straight out the window, that's not how it happens. They nosedive instantly. And this one, he gets off the bridge and it comes down and his whole front of his car, bumper, everything is smashed, obliterated. And then he the car is swerving and she's trying to jump out of the car because this is how her mother died. This is how she almost died. So it makes sense that she'd be so fucking freaked out. What'd she think was going to happen? They bet that he wouldn't do it and she stayed in the car. But they said she's the new kid, so I don't know. I guess she was just like, what the fuck are you doing? I would be like freaked out. Anybody would, I think. This was so reckless and stupid. Actually, it wasn't reckless. They did wreck, so it was wreckful. But his car gets completely smashed. And he gets out of the car like, yeah, I did it. And he's like, you owe me $20. And it's like, $20? That's going to take hundreds of dollars. This is 80s, okay? 80s would have been a lot less. Now it would be thousands. But back then, you could probably fix it for like a few $100. But still, it ain't no $20. The one guy stops, and the other guy, he didn't go. He was like, no way. And he's like, tells his friend, it's too high. And it was way too high. He completely destroyed that car. And he doesn't care. No one says anything about it. The fact that his whole front of his car is completely smashed. No one comes over and is like, oh my God, what'd you do to your car? Nothing. They're just like, oh my God, you made it. And he's like, I know, you owe me $20. Really? Wow. I do love that they showed it though, and it hits and it just wrecks. Because I don't know. I think in most movies they would just make it look like he actually landed it, and it would be like, oh my God, he's incredible. But it's like, no, they showed exactly what would have happened in that scenario, except for the guys in the car would be fucked up. They would have been smashed, and their heads would have been, they weren't even, yeah, they'd be fucked up. They'd probably all be dead, to be completely honest. And when the teacher, the guy's playing the trick on the teacher, and he's, you know, upping the current so that the guy's hair stands up, the teacher's like, you know, I can dissipate this static shock. I can transfer it. He touches the kid on the nose, and we see like a cartoon shock come out of his finger onto the guy's nose. That was such a bad choice. That was such a bad choice. Why it had to be like so arced for one, beyond me. They made it so high on the arcs. I was just like, why? Like, if you want to make that stupid idea, they didn't need to show it at all. We would have got the idea. But if you're going to show it, just make it a little zap, like a straight line with maybe like a little squiggle. But the fact that it's like, wow, what were these people thinking? That just instantly takes you out of it. Because this movie isn't goofy. This movie isn't silly. It's pretty straightforward, serious. And that scene is bad. Bad. And it's funny. It's a funny scene. So it's kind of like a well done comedic. Like, he's playing a trick on the teacher and whatnot. But the shock is just poor. Poor choice. And then, you know, the creepy guy on the bike sneaks into her room to steal her underwear while she's in there undressing and taking, you know, going to take a shower or whatever. And when she comes out, the window's back open, he's gone. And then the next day, sees him at his race or whatever. And he, like, presents her undies to her like he's going to be flattering. I mean, did he really think that was going to work? I know he has this really weird accent, so maybe where he comes from, that's like romantic. Like, if you can sneak into a girl's house. Panty raid! Like, really? Did he think she was going to be like, oh my God, you have my panties? Well, I might as well give you my vagina now, because you got the keys to it. I don't understand that. He's just a fucking creep. I just thought it was funny that he thought he would get anything from her. I do like the kill where she takes the scarf and throws it into the wheel, and it brings him forward, and then she just like cranks up the throttle and just... That's fucked up, man. Whoo, that was bad. We didn't get to see it, which is a shame, but it was still an inventive kill. And totally, totally evil. And... Ow. This chair I sit on, man, you guys can't see anything below here. I might not even be wearing pants. It's my birthday. I'll do whatever I want, right? It's wearing my birthday suit. I'm wearing pants, don't worry. Actually, shorts. Really goofy ones my kids picked out for me. And now you're like, let me see him. Where the hell was I? And then, yeah, she goes to kill the guy who's working out, which when he has them up, he doesn't see her put on more weight, really. Come on. But he puts it, like, he's holding it there, and he's like, help, help, help. And she's, like, coming slowly over with the weight to, like, drop on him. Why didn't he just rest it on his chest? Or let it fall this way and push it off? Like, this guy's supposedly, like, workout guy. He knows how to work out. Like, I've been to the gym a fuckload in my life. Like, I understand. It's not that tall. It's not that difficult. But that being said, like, she drops it on his balls, which immediately, like, his reaction is to drop it. Oh, that's horrible. Like, even though he's kind of an idiot for not at least, like, taking it off and putting it on his chest, or like trying to throw it over the side, or just dropping it backwards. I mean, she takes away the thing. All he had to do is just go like this, drop it. It really wouldn't have been that hard. He probably would have hurt his arms, but he wouldn't have crushed his fucking neck and killed himself. So that scene was kind of stupid when you thought about it, but it was evil too at the same time. But I love how then the girl comes over to his house and the body's missing. All the blood's cleaned up, and this workout area has carpet for some reason. So got the blood out of the carpet. It looked like carpet. This is actually a pretty good transfer for a DVD. I was surprised. It looks really good. But it looked like carpet. But even if it wasn't, like, how did this chick, who looked so little, get this weight off of this guy? I mean, she could have taken the thing off and taken one by one and off, and then threw it over and whatnot, and then pulling the body. I mean, she would have no way to move this body. I'm sorry, she just wouldn't be strong enough. It would take so much effort. She'd have to, like, create a system and pull it on a run. Anyway, I'm overthinking things, but I love that in these movies. They don't show them for a reason, because it just would look so stupid if they tried to actually show it. They also have a lot of success in this movie. Like, all of their friends seem to win everything. Like, the geeky guy and the other guy win the soccer game, and then the other guy wins his race. It's like all of her friends are super successful, and she's going to cut them down in their prime, which added to how fucked up it was. And I love when the cops are investigating, and the guy overhears it, and he's like, "Hey guys, I think they found something outside," and they all, like, run. I mean, I don't know. In one way, I'm kind of like, they should know. It's their classmate, But in the other sense, it's like, you're totally impeding on a police investigation. I don't know. It was kind of a 50-50 thing for me, but I just thought it was funny how he just screams it out. And then the guy who she thinks is dead from the bell tower, Quasimodo, the way he re-enters the movie is by hanging upside down from inside the library and then falling from that height onto his back like he's dead, scaring her, and then he jumps up and is like, "Ha, I got you." That would have fucked him up. That would have hurt his shoulder, his neck, his head. It's like, he fell on something from that. Like, why was that his choice? What the fuck? Yeah, not much thought was put into actually how that would all work out on a real human body, but yeah. Anyway, whatever. And they do an operation on this girl. They keep having flashbacks, and it actually, like, they open up the top of her crown and they pull it back, and there's a skull, and they actually, like, do two circular incisions into the skull, and then open it up, and the brain swells and it comes out. It's really good. Kind of reminded me of, it's better in this movie for sure, but it reminded me of John Kramer's his brain operation in Saw 3. As I said, in Saw 3 it looks better, but it was really good here. That was actually some of the best practicals, if not the best practical in the movie. I was like, oh wow, that actually is really, really, really good. And where the hell was I? And then, yeah, we find out that her mom died on the bridge, which is what set her off. And, that's not really all that relevant. I'm just biding time so I can find the next thing to talk about here. Bear with me. And I love how this happens in a lot of movies because they're like lower budget things, and it's a big part of their budget to do this. But the car falling off of the bridge in this movie, they have to show her, like, flashing back to it in a row. It's not like it happens periodically throughout the movie. No, it happens all in a row, but she sees the car falling 4 different times into the water. Like, 2 of them are exact same shot, and then one's from a different angle, and then one's from a completely different angle. But it's like, I remember a Mystery Science Theater 3000 line in Pod People, and he's like, we paid for the Winnebago, we're gonna shoot the Winnebago, or the RV. We paid for the RV, we're gonna shoot the RV. It's like, when you pay for these scenes, like a car fucking crashing off of a bridge into the water, it's like, man, we spent $50,000 of our budget to do this. We're giving this more than 2 seconds of screen time. It's getting 8 seconds of screen time, because that's what $50,000 is worth. And It sucks because the mom tells her that her dad's like a loser when he's on the phone, and this is exactly what happened to me as a kid, so it hurt. Like, it hit me in a wrong place, because my dad would call on my birthday, and she'd be like, your loser father's on the phone, and she'd hand it to the phone, and he'd be like, hey, And same thing happens in this movie, and we find out later in the movie he's like a good guy. Like, he does come home on her birthday, just like he said, goes to her, like, he's there, and he loves her. Like, when he thinks that she's the one dead in the house, he freaks the fuck out, and he runs through that house, and he's trying to find her, and he runs over to the other place, and he's just like, oh my God. And then even when he finds out that she's the killer, I mean, it doesn't end up being her, but when she is the killer, he can't even bring himself to do anything about it. He just starts blaming himself instantly. Like, the doctors told me that she was fine and I believed them, and he's freaking out. And I completely understand that because I have daughters and I could never see them as bad. I would just sit there and be like, I don't know what to do. She even like goes over and slits his throat, and he just kind of takes it because it's like, what am I going to do? I can't kill my daughter. I can't hurt my daughter. Like, I'm fucked in this situation. And I totally empathize with him in that moment. But yeah, it was kind of like this. He is a good guy, and this sucks for him big time. And the party table. I mean, talk about the most iconic scene from this movie. The jump over the bridge is very memorable, but this party table with all the dead bodies around it, and they're all wearing party hats, and they're all, look exactly how they did when they died in the movie. And she dug up the mom's corpse and put it in the chair. So, like, everyone who was supposed to be at her party, it did show up this time. It's awesome. Awesome. It is such a fucking fantastic shot. It is creepy and fits the film so well. And the title actually works within the movie. Like, it's like she comes out singing happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. Like, and that song's eerie, the way she does it. That whole sequence is amazing. Freaking amazing. And should be in some of the greatest slasher moments ever, in my opinion. And we find out it's her crazy friend, and that she had a mask made for her by her friend, the mask maker, or she figured out how to do it because of him or whatever, because I don't know how he wouldn't know that she had that ability to do that if he helped her. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But this is some Mission Impossible Ethan Hunt mask shit here. She just like pulls it off of her face and she's a different girl underneath. Okay, that's not how that shit works. You don't just put latex over your face and it makes you look like a different person. There's called bone structure and things that make you look completely different. Nose size, different eyes, everything. So you can't just... It's so stupid. It's so far-fetched. I wish they would have just made it her identical twin sister. That would have made it way better. Like, she was the second sister we didn't see on screen, and she was the one who was in the car that day, and whatever, and they just never mentioned the other one. The dad and her never talk about it. And when they could cut to her visiting the grave, and then they could pan over and show the other grave. Maybe they thought she was dead. Who knows? Anything. But making it the mask because they showed that the guy could make amazing masks in the beginning. That is too much. That is too fucking much. I would have been in that room and I would have been like, no, you will not do that because this movie's really good and you're not going to fucking blow the ending with something that far-fetched. But they did. And what can I do? And yeah, and then she gets pinned with the murders at the end. So, yeah. Really cool movie. And if anyone's still here at this point, 30 fucking minutes. I did not expect to talk about it this long, but man, it's a good movie. And now I've said everything I could ever want to say about this movie. That's the point of these, is that just discuss it for people who love this movie and are like, yeah, I noticed that too, and this and that. So anyway, guys, happy birthday to me, and thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. I truly appreciate it. Time for bed. Good night.